Very good morning, dear students. Welcome to the Bridge course. This is physics subject. The topic of discussion for today is 1D motion. You will be familiar with this topic because some of the concepts you would have already studied in your 10th or 9th standard. We are just trying to brush through those concepts. We will be starting with mechanics. What do you mean by mechanics? As the name tells, machine. Any machine can either be at rest or in motion. Same way here, when we consider any object, it can be at rest or in motion. The branch of physics which deals with the study part of the object or the motion part of the object is called as mechanics. If you look at the first diagram, there is a ball which is standing at rest. Why is the ball at rest? What is making the ball to remain in the state of rest? The study of this comes under mechanics. Then we have the tom which is in motion. What makes the body to move? And when the body is in motion, what type of motion is the body executing? Let's say, for example, the fan doesn't move from one place to the other, but is in motion in a same place. But in the same way, a cricket ball moves from one place to the other. A bird flies from one place to the other. These three are exhibiting different types of motion. So, what are these different types of motion? What is the cause for all this? Is studied under mechanics. Now, in order to make our study much more simple, let us understand few basic things. Let us understand what is the meaning of a particle, which we often use this term while doing the derivation or explaining the concepts. What is a particle? So, a particle is just a piece or a quantity of matter which practically has no linear dimensions. That means we consider the dimension or the size of the object to be negligible compared to its motion part. Next, rest and motion. When do we say a body is at rest? When do we say a body is in motion? A body is said to be in the state of rest when it does not change its position with respect to time. If the body changes its position with respect to time, then it is said to be in motion. Let's say, for example, if I have kept my book in the shelf and I never touch it, at any point of time, the position of the book has not changed, it would remain at rest. In the same way, if I am standing on the platform of a railway station, the train will keep moving. The position of the train changes with respect to time. The train is in motion. For me, the train is in motion. For me, the passenger in the train is in motion. But maybe for a person inside the train, another passenger will be at rest. Now, mechanics is a much complicated study. In order to make it simple, it is divided into two branches, dynamics and statics. What do you mean by statics? As the name tells, stagnant, stationary. Static means at rest. The branch of mechanics which deals with the rest part of the body is called as statics. Now, can you all tell me what is the cause for the body to remain at rest? What makes the body not to be in motion but remain in the state of rest? Yeah, some of us feel it is because no force is acting on the body. It is not possible. One or the other force will definitely keep acting on the body. I cannot tell no force is acting on the body. I can tell the net effect of the force is equal to zero. When the net force on the body is equal to zero, it will remain at rest. This is studied under statics. Dynamics. Dynamics is a branch of mechanics which deals with the study of body in motion. When an object is in motion, I have two parameters to understand. One, what type of motion is executed by the body? Is it moving from one place to the other? Or is it rotating in the same place? Or is it undergoing oscillatory motion? That type of motion executed by the body is studied under kinematics. Now, what makes the body to move from one place to the other? What makes the fan to rotate in the same place? The cause for this motion is studied under kinetics. Kinetics deals with the study of cause for motion. Kinematics deals with the type of motion. Again, as I said, there are three types of motion executed by the body: translational motion, rotational motion, and oscillatory motion. In translational motion, there are three types. A body can move in a straight line. When a body is moving in a straight line, out of the three coordinate systems, we have x, y, and z axis. Maybe only one of the coordinate specifying the position of the object may be changing with respect to time. Such a motion in which only one of the position coordinate changes or the body travels in a straight line is called as one dimensional motion. If we go to a playground, a park, we see a slide. Some of the slides are straight. Any kid sliding down such a straight slide will be moving in a straight line. When any object is made to fall from a certain height, it will fall straight along a straight line, it will travel and reach the ground. That is also an example of 1D motion. I understand that you would have studied about optics in your elementary classes. When the light travels from one point to the other point, it travels in a straight line. This property is called as rectilinear propagation of light. It is due to this rectilinear propagation we get to see shadows being formed. We get the formation of eclipse. This is the example for 1D motion. 2D motion. When a body travels along a plane or out of the three coordinates x, y, and z, two of them are changing. Two of the position coordinates are changing with respect to time. Then the body is said to be executing two-dimensional motion. If I consider an example of an ant moving on the floor, it can only crawl on the floor. The floor is a two-dimensional space, so it will be a 2D motion, though it is not defined properly. When you throw a ball, if the ball is heavy enough and there is no air resistance, you observe the ball takes the parabolic path. Even in cricket, we observe when a player hits the six, in the replay they show the trajectory of the ball. It will be in a plane. That is an example for two-dimensional motion. Remember, the motion along a circular path or a parabolic path is an example for 2D motion. Three-dimensional motion. The motion of a body in space, or the motion of a body in which all the three coordinates are changing with respect to time. That is called as three-dimensional motion. Any bird flying in free air, it may travel along a straight line in a plane, or it can move in space free anywhere. That is an example for a 3D motion. Paragliding. When a player throws the ball, usually when you throw the ball, the motion or the trajectory of the ball is 2D. But when there is a spin bowling, the ball not only has a parabolic path, it can deviate from its path due to the spinning action of the ball. That can also be treated as an example for 3D motion. So let us recap what we have done so far. We started discussing about the topic called as mechanics. Mechanics is the branch which deals with the study of rest or motion of the body. To understand this topic, we need to define two terms. What is the meaning of a particle? What do you mean by rest? What do you mean by motion? Any object whose linear dimension can be neglected, but only its position can be considered, is treated as a particle. A body is said to remain at rest if its position does not change with respect to time. If the position changes with respect to time, the body is said to be in motion. Mechanics is divided into two branches, dynamics and statics. Statics deals with the rest part of the body, dynamics deals with the motion part of the body. When a body is in motion, what is the cause for motion is studied under kinetics. The type of motion exhibited by the body is studied under kinematics. The type of motion executed by the body can be translational, rotational, or oscillatory. When a body is undergoing translational motion, there are three types: one dimensional, two dimensional, and three dimensional. When a body is in motion and only one of the coordinate changes, it is said to be 1D motion, straight line motion, or rectilinear motion. If a body moves in a plane or two coordinates change with respect to time, then the body is said to be in a 2D motion. Example for this can be a motion along a circle. The motion of a body in space where all the three coordinates change is called as three-dimensional motion. With this background, let us continue. We will understand some more terms related to kinematics. Distance traveled by the body. Suppose I am at my house. I want to travel to a shop B. Now I cannot go in a straight line from A to B. I have to go out of my house, go through the road, take some turns, and reach the shop. The length of this path taken to travel from A to B is called as distance. Now, because during the motion from A to B, I keep changing the direction, it, it cannot be treated as a vector quantity. It is called as the scalar quantity. Distance is nothing but the length of the path. It is a scalar quantity. It is measured in meters. On the other hand, suppose if I can travel from A to B along a straight path instead of taking a longer distance, this shortest distance, which is the straight line between A to B, is called as displacement. Displacement is the shortest distance between A and B. Now you understand, displacement is one of the case of distance. Let me explain it once again. From A to B, I took this path 1. I can also take another path from here to here. I can also take this path. All these three are distances or the length of the path. But in this special case, this path is a straight line. This path or the length of this path is called as displacement. The shortest distance between the 2 points is called as the displacement. Now, if you look at the second diagram, there is a gentleman trying to travel from one corner of the triangle to the other corner. But he is taking the path like this. The length of this path, that is the length of this side plus the length of this side, is the distance traveled by him. But had he traveled along the hypotenuse, this would have been the shortest distance. It is called as displacement. Because this displacement happens only in one particular direction, it can be treated as a vector quantity. The SI unit of this is meter. Of course, some distances are measured in centimeter, some are measured in kilometer. Whatever it is, in physics, we follow the SI system of measurement. Hence, we represent it with meter. Let us try to solve one problem. There is a room typically square like this. Each side of the room is 2 meters. Now there is a gentleman standing here. He wants to travel from the corner A to C. He has two different paths to travel. He takes this first path. He will travel from A to B, B to C. This is the length of the path. The length of the path is called as distance. The distance will be equal to 2 meter plus 2 meter, that is equal to 4 meters. Whereas if he had traveled along the diagonal, this would have been the shortest distance. The shortest distance is called as displacement. And the displacement is nothing but the hypotenuse of the triangle ACD. It is given by square root of 2 square plus 2 square, that is square root of 4 plus 4, 8, that is 2 root 2 meters. This will be the displacement. Now, because it is a vector quantity, it has a direction from A to C. It is represented by the symbol S with a vector. Distance sometimes is written as X, sometimes as S, sometimes as D, and sometimes as R. All these are symbols used to represent the distance. Let's not worry about that. Now, the distance covered by the body keeps changing with time. Due to this change in the distance with respect to the time, we get parameters called as speed and velocity. Let us look at the three diagrams. In the first diagram, we have a cyclist, a car, and a jet. The first case, the cyclist will cover lesser distance in a given time compared to the car. The car covers lesser distance compared to the jet in the given time. So the body which covers more distance in a given time is considered to be traveling fast, or its speed will be more. In the three diagrams, the speed of the jet is more, for the car it is less, and the cycle is the least. The speed is defined as the distance traveled by the body per unit time. The velocity is defined as the rate of displacement or the displacement of the particle per unit time. Speed has distance. Because distance is scalar, speed is also scalar. This is displacement by time, therefore velocity is a vector. It has both magnitude as well as the direction. Speed is defined as distance traveled divided by time taken, whereas velocity is defined as displacement divided by time taken. Now let us continue. In this velocity, a body can possess different types of velocity. Let us speak about uniform velocity. As the name itself tells, the body should possess same velocity throughout its journey. I can define uniform velocity as a particle will be possessing a uniform velocity if the displacement of the particle is equal in equal intervals of time. If the body covers equal displacements in equal intervals of time, however small the time interval may be. I repeat, a particle is said to be moving in uniform velocity if it covers equal displacements in equal intervals of time, however small the time interval may be. Now let us take, for example, we are familiar with the hare and the tortoise race. Who won the race? Tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. Of course, the proverb keeps changing with time. Let's not worry on that. Now, when I consider the race between the tortoise and the hare, if I imagine that to be along a straight line, the tortoise, during its journey from A to B, if it was traveling with a velocity v, if I divide the time interval into two halves, it would cover equal distance in equal intervals of time. The distance covered would have been the same. Again, if I divide this time interval further, the distance covered would remain to be equal to same. The body is covering equal displacements in equal intervals of time. This was tortoise. Whereas the hare, when it traveled from A to B, maybe it would have traveled in the same time, but it traveled very fast, stopped here, took rest. During this time, the displacement was zero. Then again, it traveled. So, when I divide the total journey into smaller parts, here the displacement is different, here it is different. Therefore, hare did not travel with uniform velocity, but the tortoise did. Let us consider few more points. The speed is defined as the distance traveled by the body divided by time taken. Velocity is defined as the displacement of the body divided by time taken. If the body is traveling with a uniform speed, no problem. Throughout the journey, the speed would have remained the same. But if it was not traveling with uniform speed, at different instances it had different speed, then how do I find the average speed? In the car, when you are traveling, uh, after a long journey, you can check what was the average speed of the car during the travel, journey A, journey B, etc. but at every point during the journey, you might not be at the same speed. How to find that particular average speed? Suppose the body travels from A to B covering S1 meters in a time equal to T1, and it travels with a velocity from A to B. From B to C, the body may travel with a velocity V2 in a time T2 covering a distance equal to S2. Always remember, the average velocity or the average speed is given by total displacement divided by the total time taken. We would have got used to the concept of finding the average v1 plus v2 divided by 2. That will not be applicable for all instances. Therefore, for any problem, use the technique the average velocity is equal to the total distance or the total displacement divided by the total time taken. Now, if the speed or velocity is not uniform, the velocity is changing. Who is the culprit behind the change? It is acceleration. Acceleration is the cause for the change in the velocity. We all know that velocity is nothing but displacement by time taken. It is a vector quantity. It has both magnitude as well as direction. If the magnitude of the speed or velocity changes, or the direction of motion changes, or both of them change, the velocity will change. The body is said to be undergoing acceleration. The body is said to be undergoing acceleration when either magnitude or direction or both of them changes. How do we define acceleration? Acceleration is defined as the rate of change of velocity. The rate of change of velocity or change in velocity per unit time. Wherever there is rate, it defines there is a time parameter in the denominator. So the acceleration of the body can be written as final velocity minus initial velocity divided by time taken. Rate of change of velocity is acceleration. This is also a vector quantity. It is measured in meter per second square. Sometimes, if the velocity did not change, if the body was traveling with a uniform velocity, then your final and initial velocity will remain the same. The acceleration becomes equal to 0. So you observe, for a particle whose velocity is constant, the acceleration will be equal to 0. The particle will be said to be in uniform motion. When do we say the body is undergoing uniform acceleration? I have two cases here. In the second case, a person is dropping the ball down. These balls are falling down due to the influence of gravity. Up to a certain height near the surface of the earth, G value will remain a constant. So these objects or the ball is falling down with uniform or constant acceleration. I can consider the example of a train. From the start, from the station, up to traveling a certain distance, till the speed increases from 0 to maybe 80 kilometer per hour, the acceleration on the engine will almost remain the same. That if the acceleration remains a constant, it is called as uniform acceleration. How do we define uniform acceleration? A particle is said to be in uniform acceleration if the velocity of the particle changes by equal amounts in equal intervals of time, however small the time interval may be. I repeat, a body is said to be traveling with uniform acceleration if the velocity of the particle changes in equal quantities in equal intervals of time, however small the time interval may be, then the body is said to be in uniform acceleration. When a body is moving under uniform acceleration and the straight line, the motion of the body can be governed by a set of equations called as equations of motion. Equations of motion are the set of equations which will define the type of motion executed by the body if it is traveling along a straight line and with a constant acceleration. Here I have an object at a time equal to 0. It is traveling with a velocity equal to u. It is traveling along a straight line with a constant acceleration a. After a time equal to t second, it attains a velocity equal to v. Then the body covers a distance or a displacement equal to s. How are these parameters, that is time, displacement, initial velocity, final velocity, acceleration, how are these related with each other during the motion along a straight line with constant acceleration? They are related by the equations of motion. As of now, I have mentioned three of them. One is V equal to U plus AT. Second one is S equal to UT plus half AT square. Third one is V square equal to U square plus 2AS. My dear kids, understand, whenever a body is traveling in a straight line with a uniform acceleration, the relation between these parameters like time, displacement, initial velocity, final velocity, and acceleration are governed by these three equations. What if the acceleration on the body is acting in the opposite direction of its motion? Then the velocity of the body decreases. We say the body is undergoing deceleration. The acceleration is acting opposite to the direction of motion. Then what happens to these equations? In all of these equations, replace a with minus a. Suppose in the first case, a was given as 2 meter per second square. In case B, substitute it as minus 2 meter per second square. Now you may get a doubt. Sir, initial velocity, always it should be 0, right, sir? Why do we consider that? No, always the velocity need not be equal to 0. Let us consider, for example, we are standing near the signal. Suppose I am standing in the signal. I have a red signal. I am standing here. After some time, the red changes to yellow, yellow changes to green. As soon as the green light starts, I will start my clock. Time will be equal to 0. When the time equal to 0, I started my journey with initial velocity equal to 0. But there may be a gentleman who was lucky enough, who was still traveling, who was still traveling, who was still traveling. By the time he came here, for him, luckily, the green light came. So he did not stop. When I started my watch, he continued his motion. His velocity was not equal to 0. He had some velocity. That is called as initial velocity. Or during our journey, if I start from here, I may be starting with zero velocity. By the time I come here, I may be having 2 meter per second and I reach up to here. If somebody asks me to find what is this displacement, for this journey, this will be the initial velocity. So it is not necessary that the initial velocity should always be equal to zero. A quick recap of what we studied so far. We studied about what is distance, what is displacement. Distance is the length of the path between the 2 points. It is a scalar quantity measured in meter. Displacement. It is the shortest distance between the 2 points. It is a vector quantity. It is also measured in meter. And always remember, displacement is also one of the distance, but it is the shortest one. We spoke about speed and velocity. Speed is distance traveled per unit time. It is scalar quantity. Velocity is displacement of the particle per unit time is called as velocity. Because displacement is a vector, velocity is also a vector. Then we spoke about uniform velocity. If the body covers equal displacements in equal intervals of time, however small the time interval may be, then the body is said to be in uniform velocity. Then we spoke about acceleration. The rate of change of velocity or the change in velocity per unit time is called as acceleration. Acceleration may be positive if the velocity of the body increases. It can be treated negative if the velocity of the body decreases. When you start off your journey, you are accelerating. When you are about to end the journey, you are applying brakes, deceleration. At that time, you need to take A to be negative. We spoke about uniform acceleration. A particle is said to be having uniform acceleration if the velocity changes by equal quantities in equal intervals of time, however small the time interval may be. Then we studied about equations of motion, three equations of motion. For any body traveling in a straight line with uniform acceleration, these equations can be applicable. In the data, if they give me u, a, and t, ask v, use that. Instead, they have given a, t, and u. Ask me to find s, you can use this equation. Depending on the data given, choose an appropriate equation and solve the problem. Now, after this class, we will be getting into the impartus where there will be a tutorial session. During the tutorial session, these are some of the problems which we are going to be solving. There we will be having some interaction as well and solve the problems based on the topic that we have discussed so far. This is one of the problem. When you travel half the semicircle along the giant wheel, is your displacement equal to twice the radius? A hall has the dimension 10 meter cross 10 meter cross 10 meter. A fly starting at one corner ends up at the diagonally opposite corner. What is the magnitude of the displacement? Raju walks to his school, which is at 6 km with a constant speed of 2.5 km per hour. And while returning back, his speed is 4 km per hour. What is his average speed? A car travels first half of its distance between two places with 30 kilometer per hour and the next half with 50. What should be the constant velocity with which the same distance can be covered in the same time? Then we have problem based on the takeoff of the airplane. These problems will be solved. We both of us will try to solve this problem during the tutorial session. I hope the class was informative. You enjoyed the session. Please try to make a notes of this, practice it and solve the problems. Uh, After this, in another 10-15 minutes, we'll be starting on the tutorial session. Till then, take care. Bye.